Everyone. So in last lecture we have finished with the topic that is epithelial tissue. Now we are going to start with the new point that is connective tissue structure and function. So this is second type of tissue that we are going to study. So let's see some points about connective tissue. So connective tissue, it binds together, supports and strengthens other body tissues. Okay, so whatever we are seeing, it is like a general characteristic of the connective tissue and the functions played by the connective tissue. Then it protects and insulates internal organs. Then it compartmentalizes structures such as skeletal muscle, the major transport system within the body. So connective tissue, it also acts transport system within the body. Example of transport system within the body is blood, which is also a type of connective tissue. So it acts at site of stored energy reserves. So example of this, it is adipose tissue. Then also connective tissue acts as main site of immune responses. Okay, so general features of the connective tissue. It consists of two basic parts. Please remember this very clearly, that connective tissue consists of two basic parts. First part is cell and second part is extracellular matrix. So whenever we study about connective tissue, we uh, basically study of about two things, that is we can say in other words that connective tissue is equal to cell plus ECM, that is extracellular matrix. The extracellular matrix we will see first and then we will see about cells. So extracellular matrix consists of protein fibers and the ground substance. So now the equation is this: ECM is equal to protein fibers plus ground substance. Okay, so what is ground substance? Ground substance, it is a material between cells and fibers secreted by the cells and determine the tissue qualities. Okay, so it does not occur, the connective tissue does not occur on the free surface. Then it has a nerve supply, except in case of cartilages. Even though the cartilages don't have the nerve supply, still they are categorized or characterized as connective tissue. It is highly vascular, eh, highly vascular, unlike that of the epithelial tissue. Again, there is some exception to this characteristic, that is cartilages and tendons, which are type of connective tissue, but they don't have blood supply. Okay. So next is connective tissue cells. So as we have said, connective tissue is equal to cells plus ECM, but we know ECM is equal to protein fiber plus ground substance. So CT is equal to cells plus protein fibers plus ground substance. Okay, please remember this formula. Okay, so out of this formula we are going to see this first cells. Okay, so many cells we have mentioned over here. Please remember all those cells. Okay, first one is fibroblast, second is macrophages, third one is plasma cell, fourth one is mast cell, and fifth one is adipose cell. So what is fibroblast? It secretes both fibers and the ground substance of the matrix. So this ECM, whatever ECM is formed, it is because of fibroblast, as it secrete or is responsible for secretion of fibers and the ground substance. Okay, so next, macrophages. You already know about macrophages. They are the cells of immunity. They act as a phagocytes that develop from monocytes. Okay, so when the monocytes, a type of WBC. Okay, we are going to see about this. Monocytes, they get converted into macrophages in certain condition or on a receipt of certain signals. Okay, next is plasma cells. Plasma cells are the antibody secreting cells that develop from the B lymphocytes. Okay. Again, we are going to see in detail about these cells in the chapter that is body fluids. So there we will discuss in more detail about these things. Okay. So next cell is mast cell, again type of cell which is producing the histamine. Histamine, it is a type of autocoid, okay, and which is responsible for the dilation of small blood vessels in a reaction to injury. Okay, so whenever there is a injury to the tissue, mast cells get activated, and these activated mast cells produce histamine or release histamine, which is stored inside this mast cell, and this histamine then causes dilation of small blood vessels. Okay, so next is the adipocytes. Adipocytes, these are also called as fat cells because they consist, when observed under microscope, we can see a fat globule inside the or in cytosol of these adipocytes. So what they do, they store the triglycerides, they support, protect, and insulate the organs. Okay, so next, connective tissue structure, you can see uh, blood vessel, it is vascular in nature, ground substance is present, then protein fibers, three types of protein fibers, that is elastic fiber, collagen fiber, and a reticular fiber. So this ground substance and the protein fiber constitutes of extracellular matrix. Then cells are present in the connective tissue: mesenchymal cell, macrophage, adipocyte, and fibroblast. Okay, so extracellular matrix fibers, three types as we have already discussed. There are three types: collagen, elastic, and reticular. So collagen, we will see comparative account of these types of fibers. Collagen fibers, they are large fibers. Elastic fibers, they are intermediate. The reticular fibers are small fibers. So these collagen fibers, they are made up of protein collagen and are typically the most abundant fibers. They promote tissue flexibility. Elastic fiber, as the name suggests, they provide elasticity. They are made up of protein, elastin, branching fibers that allow for stretch and recoil. So basically, elastic fiber, they allow elasticity. Okay, so reticular fibers, they are delicate branched fibers, as they are smaller fibers, they are delicate in nature. They are branch fiber that have same chemical composition as that of the collagen. That means, as the collagen fiber consists of the protein collagen, these reticular fibers, they also consist of protein, that is collagen. Okay, so they form structural framework for organs such as spleen and lymph node. Whenever we are going to see the lymphatic system, system. That time we will see the structure anatomy of a spleen and the lymph node. That time you will we will discuss or we will mention something about reticular fibers and how they form framework for these organs. Okay, so next is ground substance, next component of the uh, ECM, that is extracellular matrix. So ground substance, it is a component of connective tissue which is present between fibers and the cell. So whenever we discuss about connective tissue, what fills the gap between the fibers and the cell? It is the ground substance. So it is composed of water, mainly the water, and the organic molecule. So organic molecules, they are the combination of polysaccharides and protein. So which polysaccharides are present usually in this organic molecule part of the ground substance? That is, first one is hyaluronic acid, second one is chondroitin sulfate, third one is dermatan sulfate, and fourth one is keratin sulfate. And the protein part of this organic molecule, it consists of one particular protein, that is adhesion protein, which is called as fibronectin. Okay, so next part which we are going to see, it is classification of connective tissue. Okay, so connective tissue can be classified into two subtypes, that is embryonic connective tissue and mature connective tissue. So from the name itself, embryonic means what? We are basically talking about embryo. Okay, so embryo, we are talking about the fetal life stage. Okay, so when the fetus is inside the womb of the mother, whatever developmental stages it goes through, that is of 9 months, that is the fetal life stage. Okay, so embryo, so during embryo stage of the fetal life stage, we this connective tissue has two types, two subtypes, that is first one is mesenchyme and second one is mucous connective tissue. So as these are only present during embryonic stage, we won't go into details of this. We have just mentioned the names of these two, but we are more concerned about this as they are actually present in everyone. Okay, so in adult life or in newborn also, you will find this mature connective tissue. So in that, first type is loose connective tissue, second type is dense connective tissue, third type is cartilage, fourth one is bone tissue, fifth one is liquid connective tissue. Okay, so mesenchyme, which comes under the type, that is embryonic connective tissue. So structure wise, as I said, we have uh, decided on the scheme of studying these particular tissues, that structure, function, and location. So we have these points: structure, function, and location. So structurally, they are irregularly shaped mesenchymal cells embedded in semi-fluid ground substance that contains delicate reticular fibers. So, three things you have to determine in the structure. First thing is the cells. Second one is protein fibers, and third one is ground substance. Okay, so in this case, in case of mesenchyme, it is mesenchymal cells, protein fibers, they are the reticular fibers, and the ground substance is semi fluid ground substance. So function it plays, it forms almost all other types of the connective tissue. So location, it is almost exclusively under the skin. under the skin and along developing bones of embryo, some some in adult connective tissue, especially along blood vessels. Okay, so mucous connective tissue structure, function, and location. So structurally, uh, this is the cell that is fibroblast. Then viscous jelly-like ground substance. So this is ground substance and contains fine collagen fibers. Okay, so cell, ground substance, and fibers. Okay, so function it gives as support, and location is umbilical cord of the fetus. So loose connective tissue, there are some subtypes of it. So first one is areolar connective tissue. So structurally widely distributed, consists of fibers arranged randomly and several kinds of cells. Okay, so embedded in semi-fluid ground substance. So fibers you can see in the diagram: collagen fibers, elastic fiber. You can see fibroblast cell, reticular fiber. That means all the three types of fibers are present in areolar connective tissue. Fibroblast is also present, mast cell is there, white blood cell is also there. Okay, so from name itself you can get it is loose. That means the packing of all of these, that is cells, the protein, fibers, it is very loosely packed, it is not densely packed. Okay, there are gaps in between the cells and the fibers, that's why it is called as loose connective tissue. Okay, so function played by the areolar connective tissue is strength, elasticity, and support. So it provides the strength to the organ, then also it allows elasticity. Strength is because of the collagen fiber, elasticity is because of elastic fiber, and support is because of reticular fiber. So please understand this very clearly, that function of the connective tissue, it is because of the type of fibers which are present in it. So as the loose, this areolar connective tissue has all the three types of fibers present in it. That's why it plays all the three functions, that is strength, elasticity, and support. So location is in and around every body structure. So whatever body structures are present, you will find areolar connective tissue in it. Okay. So next is adipose connective tissue. Again, this type of connective tissue comes under uh, the type that is a loose connective tissue. So structurally, it has cells derived from fibroblast. So cells are called as adipocytes that are specialized for storage of triglyceride as large centrally located droplet. So you can see this is nothing but the triglyceride containing droplet. Okay, so adipose tissue in adult is white adipose tissue. In fetus and infants it is brown adipose tissue. Why it is brown and why in adults it is white? The reason is presence of very rich blood supply. In case of fetus and infants, let me define this. Fetus is like a newborn, or it is the uh, fetus is basically inside the mother, womb of mother, and an infant is 1 month to 1 year. Okay, so fetus is before 1 month. Okay, that is the life stage. Okay, so during this period there is very rich blood supply to the adipose tissue. That's why the color of the adipose tissue is brown. And as the development occurs, this blood supply decreases in adults. That's why it become white in color. So what is the function of adipose tissue? Is it reduces heat loss through skin, and it serves as energy reserve. It supports and protects organs. In newborn, the bag generates heat to maintain proper body temperature. Okay, so function is reduction of heat loss. So insulation is the function played by the adipose tissue. Also, it serves as energy reserve. Okay, then it supports and protects. So it acts as fat pad on the organs, and as it acts as fat pad on the organs or surrounds the organ, it protects the organ from the shock. In case of newborns, this bed generates heat to maintain proper body temperature. So location, wherever areolar connective tissue is located, at that location you will find adipose connective tissue. Okay, so it is like wherever you follow, wherever you are present, I will follow. That is the thing. So wherever you will find areolar connective tissue, you will find the adipose connective tissue. So next is reticular connective tissue. So structure wise, fine interlacing network of reticular fibers and reticular cells. So cells we have defined, they are reticular cells, and the protein fibers which are present, that is reticular fibers. So forms stroma. Stroma means framework. Okay. So forms stroma of organs, binds smooth muscle tissue cells, filters and removes worn out blood cells in spleen and microbes in lymph nodes. So stroma means it forms the framework of organs. Second function it plays, binds smooth muscle tissue cells. Third function, filters and removes worn out blood cells in spleen. We are going to see in detail this particular point in lymphatic system. And also it filters and removes microbes in lymph node. Okay, so the spleen and the lymph node, they have filtering and removal function. Okay, so as we are going to study it in detail, so let's not ponder on this in this particular chapter. So next is location. So stroma of liver, spleen, lymph nodes, red bone marrow, it is formed by reticular connective tissue. Reticular lamina of basement membrane around blood vessels and muscle, you will find the reticular connective tissue. So when we say reticular lamina of basement membrane, we are basically talking about basement membrane of epithelial tissue. Okay, so dense connective tissue, in that first one is dense regular connective tissue and the other one is dense irregular connective tissue. So structurally you can see dense connective tissue when we are seeing that it is packed, there is not much gap is present between protein fibers and the cells. Okay, so that's why it is called as dense connective tissue. So first one is regular. Dense regular means what? It has certain characteristic structure. The protein fibers are not arranged in some zigzag fashion. It is arranged in certain linearity. Linearity is there in the structure. Okay, so shiny white extracellular matrix is present, mainly collagen fibers regularly arranged in bundles with fibroblasts in rows between the bundles of collagen fibers. They are not living, so damaged tendons and ligaments heal very slowly. Okay, so what we have over here is that we have collagen fibers. Okay, Among the rows of collagen fibers, you will find fibroblast. And as these collagen fibers are not living, so healing process is slow. Okay. So function played by the dense regular connective tissue is that they provide strong attachment between various structure. So provide attachment. Okay. So second function is tissue structure withstands pulling along long axis of fibers. Okay. So the tension, it can withstand the tension along long axis. So if it is the fiber, then it becomes the long axis. This is the short axis of fiber. Okay. So if fibers are arranged like this, then this will become the long axis. If it is to be stretched in these directions, then it can take that particular tension. Okay. So it means that, so like location, it forms the tendons. In skeletal muscle we will elaborate what is tendons. Also, most ligaments are formed by the dense irregular connective tissue, and the aponeurosis also formed by the dense regular connective tissue. Okay. So next is dense irregular connective. So the arrangement of the fibers over here, it is irregular. That means they are arranged in somewhat collapsed manners. Okay. So structure wise, it consists of collagen fibers, just like that of dense regular connective tissue, usually irregularly arranged with few fibroblasts. Okay. So in both types you will find the cells are the fibroblasts, but the arrangement of collagen fibers it change. In case of regular, it is regularly arranged. That means some kind of linearity is there. But in case of this, there is no linearity and there is irregularity in arrangement. So function it plays, it provides tensile strength in many directions. Due to irregular arrangement of the collagen fibers, the tensile strength is in many directions. But in case of regular connective tissue, the tensile strength in only in the direction of long axis. Okay. Location, it often occurs in sheet such as fasciae. Again, in skeletal muscle system you will understand what is fasciae. Then a reticular region of dermis of cell, then fibrous pericardium of the heart. When we will see study CVS, there we will mention about this. Then periosteum of bone, perichondrium of cartilage, joint capsules, membrane capsules around various organs, and also in heart walls. Okay. So because it allows or it provides tensile strength, the location is also such. Okay. So fasciae were related to the skeletal muscle where the pulling strength is required. Also the pericardium of the heart, as the heart is continuously pumping, it requires tensile strength. Then in case of the cartilage, again tensile strength is required. Then joint capsule, then heart walls, all of these locations they require some kind of tensile strength. So next third type in the dense connective tissue is elastic connective tissue. Again you can see it is densely packed. Structure wise, predominantly elastic fibers. That's why the name elastic connective tissue, and fibroblast between the fibers. So function, it allows stretching of various organs. So it, whenever there are elastic fibers, it provides elasticity. Okay. So it is strong and can recoil to original shape after being stretched. Elasticity is important to normal functioning of lung tissue and elastic arteries. Okay, so this is important in case of lung tissue, that is recoiled to original shape. If you see lung tissue, continuously air is being filled up and continuously air is being exhaled out. So continuous movement of this lung tissue is required. So elastic fibers needed to be included into the structure of the lung tissue, and which will allow uh, when air fills in it should expand, when air is exhaled, when air goes out it should relax and come back to the normal shape. So location is lung tissue, then second is wall of elastic arteries, then trachea, bronchial tubes, true vocal cords, suspensory ligaments of penis, then some ligaments between vertebrae also show presence of elastic connective tissue. Then next is cartilage. So there are certain types of cartilage. So the first one is hyaline cartilage. So structure wise it contains a resilient gel as ground substance, appears in body as bluish white shiny substance. So a resilient gel as a ground substance. Then type of cells it shows, it is chondrocytes found in lichen surrounded by perichondrium. Okay, so you can see chondrocytes over here. So these are the lacunae, these are the gaps. Okay, so this is the matrix. So when we say matrix, it is basically we are talking about ground substance. Okay, so function, it provides smooth surface for movement at joints, flexibility and support, and it is weakest type of cartilage. Okay, so location, most abundant cartilage in the body. At the ends of long bones you will find this cartilage. Then anterior ends of the ribs also show presence of hyaline cartilage. In nose, part of larynx, trachea, bronchi, bronchial tubes, embryonic and fetal skeleton, cartilage, this type of cartilage is present. Okay, second type of cartilage is fibrocartilage. So structurally, chondrocytes scattered among clearly visible thick bundles of collagen fibers. So collagen fibers and chondrocytes, cell protein fiber within extracellular matrix. It lacks perichondrium. Okay, so function, it plays support and joining structures together. Second function, it provides strength and rigidity, which makes it the strongest type. The earlier one, that is hyaline cartilage, it was the weakest one, and this one is the strongest type. So location, it is pubic symphysis. So pubic symphysis, it is present between the two pelvic girdles. We will when we will study the bones of the skeletal system, that time we will study about the pelvic girdle. Then intervertebral disc, menisci of knee, portions of tendons that insert into the cartilages. Okay. So next is elastic. Third type of cartilage is elastic cartilage. From the name itself, you can conclude few things, that type of protein fiber which is present in this chondrocyte. For cartilages, for all the three cartilages, the cell is chondrocyte. Okay, so chondrocytes in thread-like network of elastic fibers. That's why the name elastic. Within the extracellular matrix, perichondrium is present. Only in case of fibrocartilage it is absent. but in other two, that is hyaline and elastic cartilage, perichondrium is present. So function it plays, it provides strength and elasticity. It maintains shape of certain structures. Okay. So location, lead on top of larynx, that is called as epiglottis. Then it actually this epiglottis actually closes the our respiratory system whenever we are whenever we are having our food. Okay, it doesn't allow the food to go into the respiratory system. Okay, so part of external ear, that is auricle, and the auditory tubes are made up of elastic cartilage. Okay, next type of connective tissue is bone. Okay, so structurally, compact bone tissue and the spongy bone tissue. Two type of tissues are there. So we are going to differentiate between these two, compact and spongy. So compact bone tissue, it consists of Haversian systems, which are also called as osteons, that contain lamellae, lacunae, osteocytes, canaliculi, and central canals. Okay, so you may have studied about these in, if you have been preparing for, if you had been preparing for the NEET examinations, so you had this particular part over there. Okay, so it consists of Haversian system, osteons. So you can see osteons over here. This is the one, this is two, this is three. Okay, Haversian systems. So it contains lamellae, then lacunae, osteocytes. Osteocyte, they are the type of bone cells. So canaliculi and the central canal. So this is central canal, you can see over here. So in case of spongy bone tissue, it consists of thin columns called as trabeculae. Spaces between trabeculae are filled with red bone marrow. Okay, so you can see in case of spongy bone tissue, it is trabecular. Okay, so in this diagram, these particular osteons, they are elaborated over here. So osteocyte is present here. So osteoclast, a type, another type of bone cell. Then osteoblast, when the suffix is blast, it means it is a type of immature cell, and when the suffix is site, it means that it is type of mature cell. So it is immature, it is mature cell. Then the canaliculi, so uh, as the name suggests, these are type of canals which connect the lamellae. Okay, so the function which is played by the bone is support, protection, storage. So storage of many things. So calcium, phosphate, ions, they are usually stored in the bones. So it houses blood forming tissue, that is red bone marrow, which we are going to study in detail in body fluid. Okay, so it serves as levers that act with muscle tissue to enable movement. Okay, so location, both compact and spongy bone tissue make up the various parts of bones of the body. Okay. So next is blood. Okay. Blood as connective tissue. So we are going to discuss in detail about blood. A separate chapter we have for the blood. There we are going to study each and every aspect of it. Here we will just have an overview of the blood as connective tissue. Okay, so structurally consists of blood plasma and formed elements. So formed elements, red blood cells, platelets, WBCs, etc. Then function, it plays red blood cells transport oxygen and some transport CO2. White blood cells carry out phagocytosis and mediate allergic reactions. And the platelets, these are essential for the blood clotting purpose. So location, within blood vessels, that is the arteries, arterioles, capillaries, venules, and veins, and within chambers of heart. Okay, so that's all for the connective tissue. Okay, so I'll just stop the share over here, and I will also stop the recording. Okay, thank you.